Well, so many people are trying to get a glimpse of the #1 ranked UT men's basketball team that the university had to open up additional seats in Thompson-Boling Arena for students. More than 22,200 people were at the game against Florida this weekend. The capacity is usually 21,600. And the Vols have already sold out 5 games this season.
10 News reporter Mark Salinger introduces us to one of those fans who has been with the Vols through their peaks and valleys. Mark?
Yeah, Robin and John, of those more than 20,000 fans that packed into Thompson-Boling this weekend, it'd be hard to find anyone who has been to more games than Susan Wyatt and her husband. They've had season tickets for the men's basketball games since the arena opened in 1987.
The hottest ticket in town is a chance to witness the #1 team in the country.
The hair on your arm is standing up.
Thompson-Boling Arena is loud, orange.
It's something everyone's looking forward to.
And everything basketball fans dreamt this season would be.
I think this is the best Tennessee team there's ever been.
But it hasn't always been that way. Just ask Susan Wyatt.
We've been there when you knew you were a football school.
She and her husband have held season tickets for 32 years. They were there when Thompson-Boling opened in 1987 and nearly every game since.
My husband's probably gone to every basketball game except for maybe 3.
This past Saturday's game saw the second largest crowd in Thompson-Boling since the university renovated the arena in 2008. There were so many people wanting to get in that the university opened up sections usually closed to the public.
We do have some kind of limited view standing room seats that we use for when we get to capacity situations, and it was students. We wanted to make sure that every student that wanted to get into the game could.
They've also added more concession carts to the concourse and floor.
We don't want fans waiting in line too long. We want them in the game cheering.
All to help make Knoxville a basketball town.
I was at UT starting in 1974. I never thought of us as a basketball school. Now I think of us as a basketball school.
And the university says this season will most likely be ranked in the top 5 for attendance for Thompson-Boling. They're hoping senior night on March 5th will be one of those record crowds. Robin and John?
Tried and true fans they are. All right, Mark, thank you very much.